borderline. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
With your news flash, I'm Ryan Gatenby. Brought to you by KFC. Illinois is joining a multi-state lawsuit challenging the EPA's move to roll back a key climate finding. The case targets the repeal of the 2009 endangerment finding, which underpins federal limits on greenhouse gas emissions. Gun rights advocates are citing a Washington, D.C. court ruling as they challenge Illinois' ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. Capital News Illinois reports the D.C. court found such magazines are protected under the Second Amendment. The Illinois Supreme Court has ruled companies may have to pay workers for certain pre- and post-shift activities. As reported by Capital News Illinois, the decision came in a case involving Amazon employees seeking compensation for COVID-era health screenings. I'm Ryan Gatenby with your news flash.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
As a social influencer, my days can be busy. 4 a.m., I hit the gym. 4:32, protein smoothie. 5:08, save time and money bundling my home and auto insurance with Progressive. Wait, if I bundle and save time, what would I do then? Just sit here and reflect? Like, why am I qualified to influence anyone? And how those weights are hollow? And half of my followers are bots.
You could save time and money bundling your home and auto when you switch to Progressive. It's one less thing to worry about during your already busy day. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by Progressive. This afternoon, partly sunny with a high near 67. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 38. Looking ahead to Saturday, mostly sunny with a high near 70. Saturday night will be partly cloudy with a low around 51. Currently, it's 66 and overcast. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
A KFC tale in the pursuit of flavor. The greatest insult the Colonel ever suffered was being served a wrap that was just a snack by a friend. So he took 2 crispy tenders, lettuce, tomatoes, and pepper mayo, and wrapped them in a soft tortilla. It wasn't a snack, it was a meal. He called it a twister, and never called that friend again. The Colonel lived, so we could chicken. The Twister, now back at KFC, classic or with bacon. Also try it spicy. It's finger-licking good.
Prices and participation.
All the other planter box treatments, they're playing catch-up. BioBoost doesn't just replace talc and graphite. It uses microbes to fuel early vigor and drive season-long performance, helping corn and soybeans deliver at least a 3 times return on investment. That's a yield advantage of 7.41 bushel per acre on corn and a 3.92 yield advantage on soybeans. Get BioBoost today. Visit bwfusion.com/trustthedust to learn more.
Enjoying a healthy dinner that tastes great means eating out at a pricey restaurant, right? Wrong. Healthy Choice Simply Steamers are delicious and healthy. The Tray and Tray steam technology delivers crisp veggies and tender protein in tasty selections, like Healthy Choice Simply Steamers grilled chicken and broccoli Alfredo. It's a satisfying meal with 28 grams of protein and nothing artificial. Healthy Choice Simply Steamers. What having it all tastes like.
Ladies and gentlemen, step on inside. It's Big Top Sports, your thrilling ride. From the Chicagoland to lands afar. With Derek Geyer, your sports czar. The game's the place from field to rink. Hot debates, fast takes, no time to blink. The Windy City roar, the fans ignite. under radio light. Big time sports, feel the roar, where the wild games come to score. Guiding the sports band from the heart of Chicagoland.
Hey, welcome in, everybody, this edition of Big Top Sports here on WRMN AM 1410. I am your guest host this lovely afternoon, Andrew Mighty Man Scheid, but you know me from Mondays here with Derek. Derek asked me to fill in today, and I'm very excited to do that for my good buddy. He gave me my start here on Big Top Sports, but I would like to introduce a little guest host I've brought in, Andrew Brooker. We just had a show on Prime Coverage Sports Network, which I've mentioned on this show before. And that went well this morning as well. But go ahead and introduce yourself. First time on Big Top Sports.
I'm Andrew Brooker. I'm a student at IMS. I've been working really hard these past few months to, kind of get into the industry. And Sonar was nice enough to offer me, fill in. And it makes it even better. We just did a show already with each other, and we're pretty familiar, so it's nice, and I'm appreciative to be here.
Right, and the cool thing about this is, we did a show together. This one gets to be Chicago-centric, and again, everyone out there in YouTube land, leave your comments. Let us know if there's anything you want to talk about. Anyone out there driving in your car, if you have the ability, please call in at 847-931-1410. That's 847-931-1410. Like to start off with some baseball news because we are less than a week away, everyone, from the regular season, and I can't wait. As a Chicago White Sox fan and being a Chicago White Sox affiliate here at WRMN, it's just amazing, and it hopes to be a good season, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, what do you think? You're a White Sox fan too.
Yeah.
The past 2 years ago was
the worst day.
Wanted to bash my head into a car door some days, but yeah, that was 2 years ago. But last year they really kind of surprised me a little bit. They came out, they won 61 games, still lost over 100, but this year I think they're gonna surprise people even more.
I could agree with you absolutely. I think this is like a 70-80 win team with a lot of young talent that's on track to get exciting. I think they're not exactly a strong AL Central. It seems to really never be. It's kind of really the Tigers or nothing. The Royals may make a bit of a splash with kind of how they've been coming on in the past few years and building around Bobby Witt. But our White Sox, a nice young core, some pitching. It's just really exciting, and it's weird to feel like this when even a few years ago non-baseball fans were going, "Oh, you're a White Sox fan? Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I can't believe you have to go through what you're going through right now."
Right. I mean, and that's the big thing. And a couple things I want to talk about. I think it was a quarterfinal, and if people out there are listening and want to call in or text in if I'm wrong. I think it was a quarterfinal of the WBC for Team Italy. Kyle Teal went down with an injury, and I remember watching that live, and as a White Sox fan, I was going, no, God, please, no, God, no, not him. But that was really my reaction because Kyle Teal and, in my opinion, Edgar Quero have been, or were starting to be that kind of catcher.
That tandem.
And now we're going to have to wait 4 to 6 weeks. Kyle Teal has a grade 2 hamstring strain, which, let's be honest, it could be a lot worse, people, right? It could be a lot worse.
Mm-hmm. He could be out for a lot longer, and I'm glad that, he'll take this time, recover, and get back in it, and we'll get to see him on the field at some point. When he fell down and starts banging the base, it seems like, you fear the worst, but it's good. It's just a strain. Get into recovery and then come right back out for the season. And we'll just have to lean on Caro for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. When you have that kind of catching tandem like you and I just said, you're able to say, okay, Kyle Teal goes down. Edgar Carroll can step up into that position and be just as good, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah. I think that is what makes having two catchers so amazing is being able to go, okay, well, we had a young guy that was really set to do a lot of great things for the White Sox and has shown a ton of promise. And now we don't necessarily take a step back for, 4 to 6 months, have to take somebody from AAA or assign a veteran guy. We just have our own in-house talent that we can go ahead and push to the front of the line. And it's comfortable like that, and it's a rare feeling as a White Sox to have a backup plan.
Now, let me ask you this. I just looked it up here. The White Sox are currently playing the Angels in one of their last spring training games because let's remember, people, as of yesterday or 2 days ago, we were 1 week away from the regular season kicking
Yeah.
off. I mean, we're less than a week away, people. Spring training is almost over. And they're currently down 4-0 to the Los Angeles Angels right now. But it's still spring training.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the cool thing about it. They have not scored yet. They gave up 4 in the first inning. So, I mean, not what you want to see. But here's the thing I see that I like in this spring training record. They are 15-12.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good spring training record. When you're coming off the past 2 seasons the White Sox have had, that's a good. Now, granted, it is a spring training record, people. Once regular season starts, this goes bye-bye. Does that count for anything? And have to start from scratch. But I even think with Kyle Teal being out for, I would say at least a month. I don't think it's going to be the prolonged 6-week period. I'd give him a month, maybe even a little less than that, being how young he is. But they could still come out of the gate swinging. If this team stays healthy, I'm not saying they're deep playoff contenders, but we've seen crazier things before. I was only 4 years old, but the 2004 Boston Red Sox, the idiots. And I always hate that they got that moniker just because they were a young group of talented players, right?
It's definitely an interesting name to give to a bunch of them, but I feel like that was old baseball certainly going, oh, these young guys are having fun while they're playing. I can't believe it.
But the White Sox have been doing that the past couple of years, and it seems, well, last year it went really well with Will Venable at the helm, and when you take your first season as a manager and can win 60 games, that's proving something.
Absolutely.
That's proving something as a first-year manager.
He's been in situations where he has seen how to win. He is a Bruce Bochy, part of that like manager sort of tree, kind of a guy that was taken under the wing over in Texas, and then they ended up winning a World Series there. So really exciting. I was definitely worried. He's just sort of on the younger side when it comes to managers, off the top of my head, realistically. And I know we just lost, Dusty and Terry decided to finally come back. So maybe there's some, Terry Francona decided to come back. So maybe there's some leveling out there. But I had some worries, and he really showed lots of great coaching insights and his real knowledge about the game of baseball that I feel like the White Sox had been missing at the helm for a few years.
Right, and Will Venable was able to bring something in that I feel a lot of people can't bring in, and that's a young manager, because you don't see that a lot. And I think we're starting to see it a little more nowadays, with young managers leading these teams, and I think young coaches in general in sports, right?
Yeah.
We got Ben Johnson, who's a younger coach for the Chicago Bears. Will Venable's a younger manager for the Chicago White Sox. Craig Counsell's not exactly younger, but he's not part of the old guard,
he's
right?
young in the sense of coaches, but I wouldn't call him young just overall.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the big thing of it. Now shifting gears to the north side of town, this will make my my buddy Derek here happy being a Cubs fan that he is. But they have some woes to dealing with the World Baseball Classic as well. Seiya Suzuki went down during the semifinal of the World Baseball Classic. The way I read it, it's kind of like a day-to-day thing. From what I read at that point, there's been no imaging. Now that could have changed by now, but I don't expect him to be out. It's a knee problem.
Yeah.
So for someone like Suzuki, what does that mean,
I think
Drew?
yeah, I think it shouldn't be too much of an issue. I feel they really don't need him to be the right fielder at a constant, and defensively he's already kind of limited. So I think if he can just get healthy to a point where he can consistently take ABs and sit in the DH spot, or maybe play out in the corner and a few days, not necessarily full time, but I think that would be really good for him, considering what he brings in terms of power and a consistency to the Chicago Cubs.
Right. And speaking of them, and also with the World Baseball Classic, they had
Hmm.
Palencia on Team Venezuela.
Hmm.
And he was actually the one who closed it out for Team Venezuela in the World Baseball Classic against the U.S. If I'm a Cubs fan, I'm even though the U.S. lost the WBC Finals, if I'm a Cubs fan, I'm liking seeing that.
Absolutely.
Because that just shows me what he's going to bring to the Cubs in the regular season, right?
Hmm.
And the Cubs have kind of been in a little mini rebuild the past couple of years because right now we're at the 10-year mark of the 2016 World Series win.
Hmm.
So that's going to be a big thing for them. And in my opinion, they have been in a little bit of a rebuilding phase. We brought in PCA and some other young talent, which is good.
Hmm.
But what has always been a thorn in the Cubs side in the NL Central, and we talked about this on the show this morning. It's been the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm sorry to all your Cubs fans out there. The Brewers have kind of been the shoe up your arse, as Turk would say. And yeah, how does the Cubs get past the Milwaukee Brewers this year?
I think they got to stay healthy. I think you also have to kind of rely on the chance that the Brewers don't develop overly well, because that is something that they consistently do, and why they are so hard to grind out of a season, and why they're ultimately sometimes in the end better than the Cubs is because of how they develop talent. I mean, we talked earlier this morning about how Jacob Mizorowski is one of the most impressive pitching prospects I've seen in a long time, and what he was able to do for the Brewers last year, you know, minus injury, was absolutely outstanding. But now you're down Freddie Peralta. You've traded away Freddie Peralta. So how much step up is there from the rest of the Brewers? Because I feel like the Cubs at where they are now, if you just hold pat, if you get your pitching back, you now have Steele. Palencia has shown you what he can do. A lot of healthy guys. If you can stay healthy, as the Chicago Cubs, should be, no reason why you should lose to the Brewers in the long run. They should not be a threat to you unless they realistically make lots of kind of jumps in sense of their starting rotation. Because their bullpen, I mean, I think they probably have the best closer in baseball in Abner Uribe.
I mean, yeah, and that's the big thing. I think the Cubs can make a really big run at the postseason this year. They have to stay healthy. Um, and they have good talent not really coming in, but they've had good talent that they've established. The Cubs didn't go crazy in the free agent market. The biggest signing they did make was Alex Bregman to that extended contract. I think that's a good thing for the Cubs, in my opinion. I don't know your thoughts on it, and kind of being here at WRMN, I have to shut the bias part of my brain off when talking Chicago sports because we do have two baseball teams here. Um, what what does it mean for the Cubs when now I lost my train of thought. I can't even remember what I was talking about, but
You have to put aside your bias when talking about the Cubs. How does Alex Bregman
oh yeah,
improve them?
where do you see Alex Bregman taking this team? And I apologize to everyone listening. Back up. Where
Yeah.
do you see Alex Bregman contributing to this team
I mainly see it in sort of in the power sense, and then also being a rock at third base. But as I believe I mentioned this morning with you, Cubs fans need to give Alex Bregman grace. Alex Bregman is a notorious slow starter. If he has a bad first month, and by bad first month I mean by his standards, so that'd be maybe like a 750 OPS, maybe not necessarily doing all that great in terms of the all-star player that he is at third base, please give him time, because as the season goes on and as everything ramps up, he gets hot. He gets very, very scorching hot. I've watched seasons of him where, okay, we're at the All-Star break and Alex Bregman's not really talked about. Oh, we're at the end of the season, and now Alex Bregman has a 1 OPS. He's, on the back end of MVP voting conversations, and he's leading a team into the postseason, as their, leader. So I think he is a good rock. I think he's a good leader. I think he brings a lot of power to this team, and I think they really needed that, especially at third base.
That's right, and I'm just looking up some of his stats here because he used to be at Thorn in the White Sox side, being in Houston and being in that AL race. But he just, like you said, it takes a while to get going, right? They already have him in his Cubs photo here, but in his spring training numbers, he had 11 at bats because let's remember he did play in the World Baseball Classic. So far, he's had 11 at bats. He scored 1 run, 5 hits, 1 home run, 1 RBI. It's not really a base stealer. He had a 4.55 average, an OBP of 5.71, and an OPS at 1.048. So, with your did have as much of a spring training time as most of the club did. You played in the WBC. That was kind of your spring training, right? If you played in the WBC.
Yes.
It was a lot more serious type of spring training, but it was still a type of spring training, right? And I don't know, these numbers with the Cubs for spring training. I mean, 11 at bats, one run, 5 hits. I mean, that's almost batting 500.
That's a pretty good, results that you're putting out there. Even if it's a small sample size, I don't necessarily think he was overly great from what I remember in the World Baseball Classic either. Lots of conversation about him actually being the player on the roster that needed to be pulled off in exchange for younger guys that were hitting better at the time, like Gunnar Henderson. And so I still think this is still spring training. Like, I don't equate this to like him warming up early, if that makes any sense. I don't, it's still going to take time against major league talent, and like we said earlier, it is still spring training. So you have to take all these kind of things with a grain of salt, because he may have hit 4 of those balls off of guys that aren't going to make major league rosters this year. So it's very interesting when digesting spring training stats. And I'm really interested to see how the Cubs lineup looks in terms of the start of next year and how they position him in the batting order. And I'm really curious on where they're going to, what Craig Counsell's going to, mad science his way into fitting Bregman into that team.
Right. And let me ask you this one, Chicagoland. Is Alex Bregman the answer for the Chicago Cubs? Is he that guy that can help bring them one more World Series? And at the 10-year mark of the 2016 108 Broken Curse World Series win, can they do it at the 10-year mark with Alex Bregman at third base? That is the question I want to ask you, Drew.
I personally think that there is a lot of hope for Cubs fans and for the Chicago Cubs this year with Bregman at the helm. I think with the healthiness in the pitching that you're getting back, I think with what you've done in developing talent and trading, and honestly doing a lot more than I expected the normal Cubs to do. I would have never put them in the Bregman conversation in the first place, regardless of how much it made sense for them to go out and get a third baseman. because they're normally not one to spend money in free agency. And now with Justin Steele, who when he went down was a Cy Young candidate, I want Cubs fans to remember, you guys have some of the top pitching in the league. Now you get young talent as well. Cade Horton, who almost wins runner-up in NL Rookie of the Year, and you are chock full of not only certified good all-star level talent, but you are also full of young players that can make large pushes for you and grow in leaps and bounds in the terms of their talent over the course of the season. So it is the sky is really the limit. It's the World Series is what you should keep your eye on as a Chicago Cubs fan.
Yeah, and they're the one Chicago team, and it's tough for me to say that actually have a decent World Series shot this year.
Mm-hmm.
And not a lot of people will say that if you're outside of the Chicago area, because some people will say, "Oh, the Cubs have bullpen issues," and they do. There's a lot to work on in that bullpen. I think they finally found their closer in Palencia. I think that was even more cemented when he closed the deal for Team Venezuela in the WBC. I think that was even more cemented in the Cubs' minds that this guy is our starter. And again, you guys are listening to Big Top Sports on WRMN AM 1410. If you want to call in and be part of this free-form Friday conversation, the number is 847-931-1410. That's 847-931-1410. And reverting back, the White Sox have scored a run in the 8th, so they will not get shut out against the Los Angeles Angels, which is not a team even in spring training I would want to get shut out by. So they will not get shut out. A long way to score 3 more runs to try and win that thing. But again, spring training doesn't really matter at this point. Next week is really what matters. I have a question for you, kind of talking MLB, but reverting out of Chicago for just a minute here. How do you feel about opening night for the MLB being broadcast for the first time live on Netflix? I have to ask you that question.
I feel iffy about it. I like the idea that Major League Baseball is trying to get baseball to more people, and I think that's very...
Hold on a sec. Sorry. We're going to take a little break. Again, you're listening to WRMN AM 1410, Big Top Sports. I'm Andrew Mighty Man Scheid, and he is Andrew Tabrooker. You got the True Trues coming at you. We will be right back after this quick break. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome back to Big Top Sports. I am your host, Andrew Mighty Man
Involving
Scheid.
Amazon employees seeking compensation for COVID-era health screenings. Justices found state wage law does not include federal exemptions. Illinois is joining a multi-state lawsuit challenging the EPA's move. Measure now heads to the Senate. I'm Ryan Gatenby with your news flash.
A KFC tale in the pursuit of flavor. The greatest insult the Colonel ever suffered was being served a wrap that was just a snack by a friend. So he took 2 crispy tenders, lettuce, tomatoes, and pepper mayo, and wrapped them in a soft tortilla. It wasn't a snack, it was a meal. He called it a twister, and never called that friend again. The Colonel lived, so we could chicken. The Twister, now back at KFC, classic or with bacon. Also try it spicy. It's finger-licking good.
Prices and participation may vary.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something real silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
Since 1960, Fox Valley Fire and Safety has been dedicated to caring for our customers and protecting our community. What began in a family basement with just 2 employees has grown into a team of more than 300, supported by nearly 200 service vehicles. But our mission has never changed. We're here to keep the people and businesses we serve safe. Our service technicians are available 24/7, 365 days a year across Northern Illinois, because your safety can't wait. To learn more, visit foxvalleyfire.com or call 847-695-5900. A proud member of the Elgin Area Chamber of Commerce, supporting the local business community.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by KFC. This afternoon, mostly sunny with a high near 69. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 38. Looking ahead to Saturday, there will be mostly sunny skies and a high near 71. Saturday night will be partly cloudy with a low around 51. Currently, it's 66 and overcast. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
The tournament is here, and Total Wine & More is your slam dunk headquarters. Whether you're cheering courtside from your couch with crisp craft beers, smooth cabs, or refreshing seltzers, we've got the perfect lineup to keep your watch party winning. And just like your bracket, we've got a lineup full of contenders. Whether you're picking favorites or going for bold upsets, our friendly guides will help you find amazing drinks for every matchup. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Ladies and gentlemen, step on inside. It's Big Top Sports, your thrilling ride. Big Top Sports, feel the roar. Where the wild games come to score. Guiding the sports band from the heart of Chicagoland. Football frenzy and hoops so high. Baseball swinging as seasons fly. Hockey blades cutting swift and true. Sports carousel spinning just for you. Big Top Sports, feel the roar. Where the wild games come to score. Guiding the sports band from the heart of Chicagoland.
Yeah, welcome back in, everybody, to this edition of Big Top Sports. I'm your special guest host, Andrew Mighty Man Scheid, but you know me from Monday Mayhems here with Derek Geyer here on Big Top Sports. I love being here with Derek. He asked me to fill in for him. He's working a different type of game this Friday night, so he asked me to fill in for him here on Big Top Sports here in WRMN, AM 1410. If you want to be part of this lovely conversation, you can always call in at 847-931-1410. Once again, that's 847-931-1410. And oh my God, I have someone with me, and he is Andrew TeBrooker. You got the two Andrews with you tonight. I always like doing Big Top Sports. Andrew, this is your first episode of Big Top Sports. I love having you here. How are you feeling? How you feel before we get into our next segment? How are you feeling?
It feels awesome, honestly. Like it's exciting. I explain to both of my parents every time I kind of come back from any sort of event. I did U of Chicago. I did their basketball. So anytime I get to do any sort of little event or anything that's involved in media, I just feel like I got lightning running through my veins. I feel so energetic and like excited, and there's nothing that I would rather be doing than this.
Well, speaking of basketball, there's a little tournament going on right now called March Madness, and who won last night? Oh, a little school called the Fighting Illini. They got past their opponent last night. We talked March Madness on our show this morning a lot. Got to cover all those schools here. I'm focusing on University of Illinois because we're a Chicagoland station. We're a Fox River Valley station, and we need to give love to all the Chicago schools. How far do you see Illinois going? Obviously, here on Big Top Sports, we want them going all the way, winning it all.
I would tell you
bringing
that
it home to Illinois. That would just be awesome.
I would tell you that in my personal bracket that I've entered into my own family pool for severe bragging rights, I have Illinois going all the way because I do believe that is their ceiling. They are one of the most impressive offensive teams in the country, and they absolutely shot the lights out last night against Penn. And there was a lot of worries about Illinois' defense, and I really just think this was the right step in what I'd like to see, which is you don't need defense if you can score 105 points in a college basketball game. I know the competition is going to ramp up further along here, but I'd like to keep us hot now with Keaton Wagler, with Andrej, Stojakovic, both coming back from injury. I feel like the sky is truly the limit for Illinois, and there is really nobody that they can't beat if they're hot enough.
Funny you mentioned him. You were just talking about the forward Murakovic, and I apologize if I said that completely wrong.
Stojakovic.
Mm-hmm. That's number 0, David, right? I can't think of his name.
Andrej Stojakovic.
Okay. Andrej. I've got to make sure I got okay, got him here. So last night against Penn, he had 20 points. He had 20 minutes, 9 points, and 3 of 8 field goals made. He had 3 out of 2 made.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had 3 rebounds and 1 assist. He was not the leader of that number 0. And I apologize, pronouncing names wrong, not my strong suit. David Mirkovic led with 28 minutes, 29 points, 11 to 17 on the field goal, 4 to 7 on 3-point tries, 17 rebounds, and 3 assists. That's a heck of a game for
Absolutely.
That's a heck of a game, and it shows you just how Illinois was able to take down Penn, because when you look at Penn's numbers, their leading player only had 15 minutes, 2 points, 1 of 2 field goals made. I mean, it's just there's such a big difference in numbers. I mean, and Illinois' basketball team is, in my opinion, one of the best this season. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I would agree. They looked rough in the Big Ten tournament, kind of had a rough going out there, and I feel like that's why they ended up being seated where they are, and I don't mind it.
I mean, they ended the season 25-8.
Yes.
25-8. And when you go against a team of the Penn Quakers, when they ended the season 18-12.
Sure.
Is that a fair matchup? When they were able to take them down 105-70?
I think it could have. I think it was a fair matchup I think TJ Power, who was the main guy that a lot of people were talking about going into the Illinois game that plays for Penn, he dropped to like 33 to win the Ivy League championship for them. He is the former like number 23 recruit. He went to Duke for a year. He didn't get on the floor, and then I believe he went to Virginia right after that. So they have players. It's definitely hard to look at the box score though afterwards and go, "Oh yeah, this is fairly matched up teams."
Yeah, I mean, and I think they can make a deep run at it. There are teams that are obviously going to stand in their way. Um, I think Michigan being one of them, they've come into this tournament. They struggled like Illinois. They struggled in the Big Ten, kind of barely scooted by some guys, but they've come into this tournament, and I think they're going to be one of the favorites. Um, some people say Duke. I mean, there's so many people with their opinions out there, and so many strong schools in this tournament that you really can't say who's going to make that final game
It's
at the beginning of April. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah, it's incredibly hard to sit here now and go, "Oh, these teams are going to be playing in the championship," because it's March Madness. Realistically, we have no idea. Nobody has any clue, and any team, even ones that you've never heard of before. High Point upsetting Wisconsin, VCU upset UNC, even after I talked about me not believing that UNC was bad enough to lose to VCU, and then I got to watch that game go down. That was super fun.
Staying in the basketball world, let's talk about this one. The Bulls this year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the need to get kicked in their arse. Chicago Bulls team just, oh my goodness. I don't know what to say, people. They lost again to the Toronto Raptors, and I believe they play again tonight. Don't quote me on that. But this season did not go the way I thought it was going to go. Josh Giddey did not stay healthy for the entire season. He was in and out there. You traded away all your starters at the deadline. Kobe White is gone. I mean, a bunch of guys are gone. You had a whole new starting five out there after the trade deadline that can't really seem to mesh together yet. I don't even know what that front office is thinking. It's, in my opinion, it's a better experience to go watch the Windy City Bulls than it is to go watch the Chicago Bulls right now. But unfortunately, the Windy City Bulls home season has come to an end. But they were just they didn't play a lot of competitive games this year.
No, and they haven't looked overly competitive in a lot of games this year. I mean, we went on, I believe it was an 11-game losing streak. You have to kind of just look for the bright spots in Matas and in Josh Giddey when he is healthy. It's nice that we have Trey Jones as well now, who has been doing some work for us. But, I mean, there's really not a lot to get excited about as a Chicago Bulls fan besides next season, and that is frustrating.
That's right, and I apologize. I was a little wrong. They lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers last night. They sit at 28-42 on the season.
Mm-hmm.
No. That's all I can say is no. Why? Anyway, all I could say is play the best you can, and maybe you're going to get a good draft pick at the end of this year.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen with the Chicago Bulls come draft time. We're going to have to wait and see where stuff lands, because when you're sitting at a 28-42 season, you lost, I think it's now your last two against the Raptors and Cavaliers. Now you got the Rockets coming into town on Monday, and then Wednesday you're facing the 76ers. I just don't see the Bulls coming out on top of either of those games. in my opinion. I don't know if you have a different one.
No, then they play the Thunder that Friday. So it is really this back stretch of games in March for the Bulls are not going to be pretty. They're not going to be against, other bottom tier NBA teams. The Rockets are 41-27. I mean, the Sixers 38-32. VJ Edgecombe for them, who is a nice young star, had his career high and over 30 points a game the other day. And then they play the reigning champs on Friday. So it is really just kind of a gauntlet that you're going to have to go through that we know for a fact the Bulls aren't going to survive. If they take one of those 3 games, I'd be excited, and maybe, Matassa kind of continues to show that his scoring has improved very heavily. Maybe Giddey can get another triple-double to add that to his total for this year, but there's not a whole lot to look forward to for the end of the Chicago Bulls season. This kind of ragtag group of guards that we have kind of put around everybody else. I mean, I know we traded for Yabusele, and he's been playing backup center minutes for us, and we got Nick Richards, and he's been starting for us, but it's really just that's not the level of big play that you need in the NBA. I think both of those guys are solid 2s, or for Yabusele's sake, maybe he's more of a solid, third center that you kind of keep on reserve, but they need help, and they need size. They need size a ton. We don't have a player over 6'9", and you're just going to give up a lot of not only extra scoring chances on the offensive end, but you're also going to struggle getting defensive rebounds. And it is incredibly hard to win games when you do not control, when you're allowing that level of second chance points that I feel like the Bulls really just kind of let bleed in.
Not the season you wanted to have if you were the Chicago Bulls, but maybe next year things will get a little better.
Mhm.
Talking about the Chicago Bears offseason.
Mhm.
Chicago Bears offseason. And I think Derek has touched on this, and I apologize to people listening if I'm repeating something Derek has already said in previous shows. But people say that the Bears took more surgical approach to this offseason because I've said it on this morning show that I did with you that I feel that the real offseason kind of ends when draft night hits because everyone wants to get everything kind of done before that draft night because you want your draft picks for this coming year and stuff like that. They just took a lot more of a surgical approach to the offseason. I don't know how you feel about it. Excuse me,
Bless you.
everybody. Excuse me. I apologize for that. How do you think the Bears offseason went? We got Bryant from the Seahawks, which is a good ad for safety when you lost Risker, and that's all people can talk about is who the Bears lost after the
Yes.
season we had.
I
But
think
how about who they got?
I think that Bears fans are very hard to please. I feel like Bears fans want the dynasty built in 1 year, and if not, burn it all to the ground. And that attitude really overly frustrates me, especially in times like this, where I think the decisions that they made in going out and getting Kobe Bryant, and we knew this was coming. All of our defensive backs besides Jalen Johnson were on 1-year deals. This wasn't a secret. This is public information. Like we can't be a operatable franchise and re-sign all of these defensive backs. We can be happy that they're all good because most of them developed under our system besides Kevin Byard, who's been a top safety in the league for a long time. But you cannot act like you can keep all of them. You can't keep Nashawn Wright and Brisker and keep Byard and then have four defensive backs on deals where you had to pay them off of the best year of their career. Nashawn Wright, best year of his career, 5 or 6 interceptions, absolutely ball hawking people, doing a great job. But that's the best season of his career. Jaquan Brisker really showing us why he's a fantastic safety last year. There was all the concussion questions and health issues, and last year he really proved himself in the eyes of Bears fans. But you cannot fall overly in love and then not only fall in love, but commit that level of resources to a position group like that and kind of bleed yourself almost dry, especially when you have to make space for our upcoming draft selections.
Right. And I think a lot of people got upset at the DJ Moore trade. They were upset that the Max Crosby deal didn't happen. Well, it turns out he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
He's staying in Vegas. And I think that them having the number 1 overall pick, and we know who's probably going to go there, could have had something to play into it. I don't know. But the Bears still look good coming into this season. I still got Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams kind of leading it, not kind of, but are leading
this team, yeah.
Are leading this team. And DJ Moore, and I've said it before, and I don't know if Derek said it, but he wasn't crucial to the Bears' offensive scheme anymore. He was at a point, but he's not anymore. And he's at the latter stages of his career, in my opinion. And I think that first of all, I think the Bears robbed the Buffalo Bills in the how high the pick was that they got for DJ Moore. It's my opinion. And there's a lot of really good football fans that know their football that think the same thing, that the Bills overpaid for DJ Moore.
Yeah.
And that move, for those that don't know, saved the Bears $16 million in cap space that they could go out and now put other places. If I'm the Bears, and I'm saying, well, I can trade this guy who had some drops this year, and yeah, he had the NFL Moment of the Year. Yeah, we'll never forget that as Bears fans.
Yes.
But he didn't. His numbers weren't great this year when you look at DJ Moore's numbers in 25-26. So I think they made the right move. Some people say it should have happened at the trade deadline last year, but with the run they were on at that point, I don't think they wanted to touch that team. And that's just part of football. It's part of, it's a business, people. And I think that we got to remember that. And oh my God, I've been talking like a ghost for like 5 minutes. And you've been the only one on screen. And I apologize to everyone in YouTube land. It's my first day running the board, so I do apologize. I've been looking at nothing, and you've just been staring at Andrew.
I was staring. They were looking at me, listening to you, and I was giving them the smolder.
You guys could hear me, but you couldn't see me. It was like talking to a ghost to everyone on YouTube, and I apologize. But DJ Moore, not crucial to the Bears' offensive system when you have guys like Luther Burden, Cole Kmet, Durham Smythe, Colston Loveland, and you could add to that now this year, too.
And you have Rome Odunze.
Sorry, Rome, did not forget you. It's just the Bears have added so many offensive weapons the past 2 years that some of you are escaping my mind. You're working so well
Durham
together.
Smythe shout out was crazy over Rome. I was like, whoa.
But okay, here's I think that Ben Johnson's taking Durham Smythe and he's taking Cole Kmet and turning them into an old-fashioned blocking tight end, which you don't see a lot anymore.
I think you have to look for it because it exists. It's a thankless job. Nobody cares about, not nobody cares because I care, former offensive lineman, but
of course you care.
Absolutely. Those guys are the lifeblood of that offensive scheme. There are a list of guys. I mean, Darnell Washington is the first one that jumps off to me. He was drafted as a tight end out of Georgia for Pittsburgh, and he's like 6'9", like 260 pounds. So they just throw him on the end, put him on the strong side, and he's basically an extra lineman out there. So I do think it's very centered, but what you really want is you want a George Kittle, a Tyler Warren, a guy that is not only a absolutely
okay. I'm gonna kind of play devil's advocate here with Tyler Warren because we did a draft show here last year for WRMN, and we had I don't know who it is, but we had someone call in and was upset when we took Colston Loveland. at number 10 and not Tyler Warren. And then I looked at the numbers at the end of the year. Colston Loveland had better numbers than Tyler Warren at the end of the year.
Yes, at the end of the year, absolutely, because a lot more usage went Loveland's way. I think why people are in love with Warren and why they probably were at the draft at time of draft is he fits into this new idea that the NFL has of you're a chess piece. He can do so many things. He can line up close to tackle. He can line up in the slot. We can chip him. We can hold, release and hold and go out. I mean, he does so many things overly well. And I think what got underrated during the draft process about Colson Loveland is not only was he the tight end on the national championship winner, but also he was the leading receiver on a national championship winner as the tight end, and a team that ran the football over and over and over and over again with Blake Corum. You had your tight end be the most targeted guy, most receptions, just absolutely lighting it up for a national championship Michigan team. And I feel like that really got thrown under the radar for a lot of the conversation. It was just like, Michigan's a run first team, da-da-da-da. Well, hey, you can't discount Colston Loveland and what he brought to the table. I think there's he was kind of skipped over, and I think a lot of the sort of guys from that Michigan championship team were maybe discredited because of, the kind of offense that they ran. And it's not to discredit his talent. Like he is amazing. I just don't know if he is as versatile in what he can do as Tyler Warren.
All right, with that, we're going to take a little break. When we come back, we're going to talk more MLB and the World Baseball Classic finals with the U.S. taking the L. We're going to give our opinions on that. I'm Andrew Scheid for Big Top Sports and WRMN AM 1410. He's Andrew Tobrooker, and we will be right back after this short little break, everybody.
Children are the greatest joy and our best hope for a better future. Friends, they are the future. But did you know that millions of kids right here in our own backyard are facing hunger every day? Without healthy food, it's harder to grow, to thrive, to feel their best.
The impact when children don't have enough to eat is tremendous because when you're hungry and your basic needs aren't being met, you cannot learn.
Every child deserves to be fed. This is a problem we know how to solve. Food is not just food. It's energy, health, confidence, hope, and even love. Yes, love.
Breakfast in the classroom contributes to kids being more focused, which leads to higher grades and simply just their well-being.
Learn more about how No Kid Hungry is helping end child hunger in America at helpnokidhungry.org.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 5 o'clock.
With your news flash, I'm Ryan Gatenby. Brought to you by KFC. A proposed Illinois bill would require high schools to offer students a chance to register to vote before graduation. Capital News Illinois reports the measure, named after Reverend Jesse Jackson, aims to increase youth voter participation. Illinois is joining a multi-state lawsuit challenging the EPA's move to roll back a key climate finding. The case targets the repeal of the 2009 endangerment finding, which underpins federal limits on greenhouse gas emissions. Gun rights advocates are citing a Washington, D.C. court ruling as they challenge Illinois' ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. Capital News Illinois reports the D.C. court found such magazines are protected under the Second Amendment. I'm Ryan Gatenby with your news flash.
You bought an RV, and you got an automatic discount from Progressive by bundling it with your home or auto insurance. That's great, but a serious word of warning every RVer should heed. You don't need to talk about things like dry weight or dump stations. And you don't need one of those expensive water filter straws either. Because the most extreme thing most RVers encounter is a campsite without hookups. So just enjoy yourself. And Progressive's automatic discount when you bundle your RV, boat, or motorcycle with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
With your news flash, I'm Ryan Gatenby. Brought to you by KFC. A proposed Illinois bill would require high schools to offer students a chance to register to vote before graduation. Capital News Illinois reports the measure, named after Reverend Jesse Jackson, aims to increase youth voter participation. Illinois is joining a multi-state lawsuit challenging the EPA's move to roll back a key climate finding. The case targets the repeal of the 2009 endangerment finding, which underpins federal limits on greenhouse gas emissions. Gun rights advocates are citing a Washington, D.C. court ruling as they challenge Illinois' ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. Capital News Illinois reports the D.C. court found such magazines are protected under the Second Amendment. I'm Ryan Gatenby with your news flash.
You bought an RV, and you got an automatic discount from Progressive by bundling it with your home or auto insurance. That's great, but a serious word of warning every RVer should heed. You don't need to talk about things like dry weight or dump stations. And you don't need one of those expensive water filter straws either. Because the most extreme thing most RVers encounter is a campsite without hookups. So just enjoy yourself. And Progressive's automatic discount when you bundle your RV, boat, or motorcycle with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by KFC. This afternoon, mostly sunny with a high near 69. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 38. Looking ahead to Saturday, there will be mostly sunny skies and a high near 71. Saturday night will be partly cloudy with a low around 51. Currently, it's 66 and overcast. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
The tournament is here, and Total Wine & More is your slam dunk headquarters. Whether you're cheering courtside from your couch with crisp craft beers, smooth cabs, or refreshing seltzers, we've got the perfect lineup to keep your watch party winning. And just like your bracket, we've got a lineup full of contenders. Whether you're picking favorites or going for bold upsets, our friendly guides will help you find amazing drinks for every matchup. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows. Each night, the Master of Disguise stalks the darkness, outwitting criminals with chilling certainty and supernatural suspense.
You really should believe in ghosts now, Commissioner. And in shadows.
Join the Shadows for classic radio drama filled with mystery, menace, and intrigue. Nightly from 10 to 10:30 p.m. Part of late night radio here on WRMN.
For a little lighthearted lawlessness on Sunday afternoons, listen to Handle on the Law from 4 to 7 p.m. Handle on the Law is a unique combination of useful legal advice and outrageous handle remarks. Whether you're talking about Big Brother, big business, big legal problems, or Big Macs, you'll rarely find Bill without an opinion. His rapid-fire commentary gives listeners the information they crave in the way they crave it. It's Handle on the Law, Sunday afternoons from 4 to 7 p.m. right here on WRMN, AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Ladies and gentlemen, step on inside. It's Big Top Sports, your thrilling ride. From the Chicagoland to lands afar. With Derek Geyer, your sports czar. The game's the place from field to rink. Hot debates, fast takes, no time to blink. The Windy City roar, the fans ignite. Your circus of sports under radio light. Big Top Sports, feel the roar. Where the wild games come to score. Geyer guiding the sports band from the heart of Chicagoland.
And welcome back in, everybody. This edition of Big Top Sports with your guest host, Andrew Mighty Man Scheid. And with me today, while I have my can of Mountain Dew Baja Blast, new sponsor of the MLB. I just sounded like Nick Johnston from The Truth About Chicago Sports here on WRMN. But that was just an awesome feeling to have. But with me here today is Andrew Tebrucker. You got the two Andrews with you today. How we doing today, Andrew?
Great. I'm doing fantastic. That was the first thing I thought of when you pulled up the Baja Blast. I was like, somewhere Nick is smiling ear to ear. He doesn't know what happened, but he felt a breeze, and he's like, something's right in the world.
Yeah. Before we left, I teased we were going to talk about the WBC finals. And I feel like this does need to be talked about because U.S. made it. The U.S. lost. Venezuela won. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
I'm dejected. If people out there listening to the radios can't tell, I'm looking very sad right now. But what do you think of how that final went? It wasn't a high scoring game. Was very much more a defensive game being played there in Miami. Just what were your thoughts on the game? Then I could pick those apart. Yeah.
Yeah. So my thoughts on the game really were how much of a failure this was on the part of Mark DeRosa. I think another thing I'd like to point out is it seems as though Aaron Judge, if I can make a cross-sport comparison, has some early Peyton Manning in him. Maybe current Lamar Jackson would be a better example. That when it is the regular season, my goodness, I would trust you with my life. But when it comes to pressure, you vanish. And we had to rely on the one guy that we've seen show up in pressure situations over and over again in Bryce Harper. But I really thought that the decisions that were made by Mark DeRosa and how his lineup was put together and the decisions that he made in pitching as well were absolutely abysmal. He showed multiple times throughout this season, or this World Baseball Classic cycle, that he really had no understanding of the rules, and it just can't happen. You can't have the guy that's supposed to be a glue guy as a former Major League Baseball player.
That's right. And for those that don't know, you're listening to WRMN AM 1410, Big Top Sports here in the Fox River Valley. For those listening in your car, that's you. For those listening out in the tube of Youb, it is WRMN Radio. And I grew up here in Elgin in the Fox River Valley area. And to be part of this radio station now is just, it's a dream come true for me. And I'm trying not to get emotional because I used to drive down Douglas Avenue here and see this radio station. And I pride that we had a radio station in my hometown. If you didn't know that, Andrew, I grew up here in Elgin. I'm an Elginite. I grew up from Elgin High School, 2018 graduate.
There you go.
But anyway, going back to the WBC, some people, I've heard from some people say, Andrew, they felt like the U.S. was just there to do a job and not really playing for their country. And I don't like saying that because I'm a very patriotic person, and my family will tell you that right off the bat. And I feel a lot of these guys, they were playing for Team USA and they were playing for the country. I feel like there were a lot of worries on the U.S. side of injury. I think one thing that pissed a lot of people off is Clayton Kershaw. They got to see him warm up, but didn't get to see him pitch. And I think that got to a lot of people that he was invited to this WBC as a player after retirement, the year after he retires, and still doesn't get to actually pitch in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, and he didn't even finish the whole WBC. He went home before the finals.
And if I'm Clayton Kershaw, why wouldn't I go home? I dedicated myself to you after I'm no longer under guaranteed contract level money. I have no MLB franchise telling me I can't pitch this amount, I can't play that amount, and I don't expect to go back to Major League Baseball, but I would like to pitch for my country. And you can't find an inning? Like, if
you didn't find 3/4 of an inning,
you couldn't find 3 batters in a row where you were like, this is a good place for Clayton Kershaw. It just seems a little ridiculous. I know he's not the Clayton Kershaw of old, but when you have players that go out of their way to be available, I think that's the big thing for this World Baseball Classic is, hey, my team has given me free reign. My team has told me, hey, go out there. You can play all of the World Baseball Classic. I'm under an insurance deal so that if I get injured, where everything is copacetic between the two of us. So it is really odd the way that a lot of the roster decisions and a lot of the ways that the roster changes moved on throughout the World Baseball Classic. Like, it was announced like, oh, Tariq Skubal's going to be, him and Paul Skeens are both confirmed for the World Baseball Classic. And then it comes out and you go, well, Tariq Skubal's actually only pitching in the pool play game against Great Britain, and that's it. And you go, then why did he say yes?
Yeah, why are we saying...
Not why did he say yes. Why did we say yes? As the World Baseball Classic, as Team USA...
So you think, in your opinion, 2029, does Team USA see a new manager?
I would hope so.
Mark DeRosa has had the last 2 years. He's had 2023 and now 2026.
Yeah, and you could look at it as like both runner-up finishes, so I guess he did a good job. But how much is he really involved in that? And I feel like he was much more of a hindrance on the Team USA team this year than he was in years past. And the one things that really like frustrates me about how he was going about things is he seemed to not care about how hot you were in the Classic. Like, he moved it as if we were in mid-season and all of these guys are warm and are not in a slump or anything of the sort. I mean, we talked about it this morning. You have Gunnar Henderson and Alex Bregman. This is true. One of them is hitting like 240 or whatever it is against this upcoming pitcher that you're expected to see. And the other one, oh yeah, he is a basically double an MVP level candidate when he faces this guy. But we still trot Bregman out there and go through the motions. I don't know if it's a level of seniority or necessarily what would be kind of set for them to make that decision and feel comfortable in it, even when I feel like in small tournament sort of situations like this, you should be playing the hot hand.
I mean, you should be. And we were talking about the Cubs earlier in today's show. We talked a little about the White Sox. Speaking of the White Sox, they took the L against the Angels. They were able to score 3, so they almost came back. But let me tell you guys something. They lost today to the Angels. They have a game. Let me look here. I have to find it.
Can I mention one thing while you
Yeah,
go ahead
yeah,
and
go
search
ahead.
that?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to know your thoughts on the impact of Mike Vassell going down with Tommy John
Okay.
for the Chicago White Sox.
Right. Okay.
Especially if you've been, following the White Sox
This is
as
true,
much as I
everybody.
feel that you
And
have been.
I can't believe I forgot about that, but I got so much sports on the brain.
There's so much going on.
Like general public, when you're a sports radio man, broadcaster, and podcaster, as I have become, I am now a threefold in the industry right now. You do a lot of sports, and right now I'm trying to juggle the start of the MLB season, March Madness, NFL offseason. Like, I'm juggling a lot, people. So I found it here. They played the Angels today. They lost 3-4. The White Sox have got 3 more spring training games left. They play tomorrow, 8:05 p.m. against the Reds. Sunday, 8:05 against the Marlins. And then Monday against the Athletics. The Vegas A's is how I've just...
The non-city designation Athletics.
Well, they will be the Vegas A's. Let's just be honest. They're going to be the Las Vegas A's. I apologize to every fan in Oakland. My heart really goes out to you guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I hope that we in Chicago never have to go through that with the Bears here. I hope not. But anyway, getting back to the Chicago White Sox, I've never been more excited for a season since 2005, and I said that on this morning's show. And here's the reason why. We have a lot of young talent, and I could get a lot of people mad at me when I say, do I think Chase Mydroth and Colson Montgomery could be future stars for this organization? I really do. I really think Chase Mydroth in that shortstop spot is a really good spot for him, but he's also one of those players that can be shuffled around.
Would you'd play Mydroth at shortstop and then have Colson play third?
Yeah, that's the way
So can I ask
it.
where you'd put Vargas then?
See, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
You need a place to put Vargas, and dare I say, do you want his bat more or do you want his glove more?
Kind of want both. He was really hot for us last year before he went down with injury. So even though Colson's defensive capabilities at short aren't maybe necessarily what I'd like them to be, I feel more comfortable having it kind of shuffled that way, where it's Vargas at third, Colson at short, Mydroth at second, and we figure it out from there. I'm open to moving things around. I just like to include Miguel Vargas in the lineup in some sense.
I mean, and honestly, I think Vargas is going to be in there somewhere. And this is what I think the White Sox were trying to do this offseason, is get depth. And I think they did that. Luis Robert is gone. That really stung at the moment. But then you look at who we got for him. Truman Palsy, pitching prospect. Okay. He's new. He doesn't even have really any major league stats yet.
No, he is one of the best prospects that they had, and it was kind of really gaining steam for the Mets.
But the one I like is Luis Angel Acuna. And and people say, well, he doesn't have a big power bat. He's not a big superstar.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. He may not be a big Aaron Judge, Vinny Pasquantino type superstar. But what I like about this kid is his ability to play multiple positions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's awesome. You could place him in center, which is really where I think he's going to end up, and I really think that Luis Angel Acuna is going to be part of that opening day roster.
Yeah.
I really do. I don't see him getting sent down to the minor leagues. I really see him. He spent time in the Big Apple with the Mets, Big Apple with the Mets. Sorry,
You're good.
sorry. It's the football teams that both play in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good there. But he spent some time in the show, so it's not like he has no experience. And I think just the White Sox with the right field being a hitter-friendly ballpark as we know it is, and I think he's going to do well here. Sean Newcomb is another one I think is going to make that open day roster as a pitcher.
Mhm.
How do we feel about? I think it's Shane Smith
Shane Smith
gets
is
the
our
ball
opening day starter.
day. How do we feel about Shane Smith getting that ball opening day?
Love it.
And then we'll talk about the Cubs opening day because it's a little different. They're opening up in Chicago in late March. Ooh.
Spooky wind.
Yes. But that's going to be
the first thought process.
That's going to be the big thing with them. But opening day for the White Sox.
Yeah, I think
that's going to be an interesting one. You're going up against the Milwaukee Brewers. So, if I'm a Cubs fan, I'm rooting for the White Sox that first series of the season. So, because if I get off to a hot start and the White Sox get off to a hot start if I'm a Cubs fan, then I already have a little bit of my foot on Milwaukee's head already. Be it a little bit, let's just say we win the series against Milwaukee and the Cubs win their first series of the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
That puts them up on Milwaukee to start the season. Now that's up to the Cubs to keep that lead on Milwaukee, right? But if I'm a Cubs fan, I'm really kind of not going like, yay, White Sox, but I am closetly going, please beat Milwaukee, please beat Milwaukee, please beat Milwaukee. Show them that they're human.
Yeah, that opening day for the Chicago White Sox should be amazing. It's scheduled to be Shane Smith versus Jacob Misiorowski, so I find that as such an attractive pitching matchup. I honestly fell in love with the way that Shane Smith pitches last year. I thought it was really. I was not expecting him to be not even the first pick out of the Rule 5 draft. That's not who I was looking at when that was happening. And when we took him, I was sort of skeptical, but he proved it every step of the way throughout the season that he deserved that number 1 spot for the Chicago White Sox. And I'm overly impressed, and I think he deserves every bit of this opening day start. I mean, last year he almost pitched 150 innings for us. He looked fantastic, at points, and I'm just really hopeful for the upcoming season that is for Shane Smith.
I mean, I am too, and staying on the White Sox for this little segment here, Munetaka Murakami.
Mm-hmm. Mune, as they're calling it.
Yeah, Mune. Where do we see his season going? Obviously, in Japan, having the moniker the Japanese Babe Ruth, obviously automatically puts something on you, right? You're already labeled the Japanese Babe Ruth. So what does that mean here in the U.S.? As a realistic White Sox fan, I know he's not going to come in here and hit 60 home runs his first season in the MLB.
But he could.
But he could. Yeah. But what are the odds? Somebody, if you're watching out there, look up the odds for Munetaka Murakami hitting 60 home runs this year in the MLB. I think if you take that bet and he actually does it, you're going to be a millionaire by the time that season ends. Because not that he's not going to have a good season. I think he's going to hit home runs, and I think he's going to do it. I think he's in the perfect ballpark to hit home runs. But here is my thing with it. I'm a very, very oriented White Sox fan. First base is very crucial and coveted to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think that that's where Murakami's going to go. And when I say first base is very coveted to me, I'm wearing a Paul Konerko jersey right now. I know people know we've had Frank Thomas sit at first base, and those guys are both Hall of Famers. So
And add a Jose Abreu.
and a Jose Abreu who had a good stint with the White Sox, but then when he left, got kind of fell apart. I
He
mean,
got
that's
old.
That's
That's
all I
what he
can
did, is
say
what
about
happened.
Jose Abreu is he kind of fell apart. But first base has always been coveted to White Sox fans, and I'm not saying Andrew Vaughn wasn't loved on the South Side of Chicago because some people did really love Andrew Vaughn, but I don't think he was the guy to have there at first base. I'm sorry, Andrew. I don't think
I
he
have
was.
2 Andrew Vaughn jerseys in my
I
closet.
do not think that Andrew Vaughn was that guy at first base for the Chicago White Sox.
Well, he is for the Brewers, so
I mean,
you know,
he really is for the Brewers. And,
what
and
happens
that's
when you
the-
can develop talent?
That's the fun thing with this is he leaves the White Sox, goes over to the Brewers, and then just becomes a stud.
Mm-hmm.
Can someone explain to me that? I mean, and later on, if
I'll give you my personal explanation right now.
yeah, give me your personal explanation.
The White Sox cannot develop hitting.
Oh,
We can't.
Now, let me stop you there. Because they got a new hitting coach in Derek Shulman, who has been on this radio station. My cohort and Derek Geyer has talked to him before.
Yeah, he's a new guy.
And what he has, let me tell you this. I think this year the White Sox are going to be able to develop hitting with
saying
with Shulman
historically.
there. Historically, they have not been the best, but this year I'm seeing a big difference when it comes to hitting. I'm seeing a lot more contact hitting. I'm not seeing way more swinging for the fences
Yeah.
that I did in past years.
But you're more so asking like why Andrew Vaughn works for the Brewers and he doesn't work for the White Sox, and that's the answer for you. It's the same thing with Jake Berger when we sent him over to Miami. He talked about how, oh well, yeah, they brought me in, they fixed one thing in my swing. My swing's more efficient now, and now I'm mashing like the first round pick I was. And I think it's the same exact situation over in Milwaukee. They cleaned Andrew Vaughn up. They changed his his leg kick into more of a pull. He sits back in his lower hip a lot better, and it is. Then he said, "Just the Drew of us," and caught me off guard. It is just the Drew of us. So I think realistically, that's the difference. The difference is, well, I think now, like you said, with a new hitting coach, we could develop hitting at a much better level. Why those guys didn't work out for the White Sox is because we couldn't develop hitting while they were here.
And that's a big thing. And I think Derek Shulman coming in, and, you know, I haven't personally got to talk to the guy or personally get to meet him. My cohort and Derek Geyer has gotten to spend some time with him, not a lot. He's coming on the show as a guest. He's seen him at events. He's part of Athletes Unlimited here in the Elgin area, who help underprivileged kids afford equipment and stuff like that. Just a great organization. And I think he's really the answer for the White Sox, at least what I've seen in spring training. But when we come back, we're going to talk about Cubs opening day and what we plan to see with the Chicago Cubs and their possible World Series run in 2026, 2027. What? Could we see it 10 years later? I don't know. We're going to have to find out after this. I'm Andrew Scheid. He's Andrew Tabrooker. I'm here for WRMN, AM 1410, and Big Top Sports. We will be right back after this quick message, but I have to play out this song. So we're just going to have fun for a couple seconds. Like I said, we're going to come back with Chicago Cubs opening day, and I hope that everyone enjoys the last half hour of this show, of this special guest host show by me, Andrew Mighty Man Scheid. For again, WRMN, AM 1410, Big Top Sports. We'll be right back after these quick messages.
With your news flash, I'm Ryan Gatenby. Brought to you by KFC. Illinois is joining a multi-state lawsuit challenging the EPA's move to roll back a key climate finding. The case targets the repeal of the 2009 endangerment finding, which underpins federal limits on greenhouse gas emissions. Gun rights advocates are citing a Washington, D.C. court ruling as they challenge Illinois' ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. Capital News Illinois reports the D.C. court found such magazines are protected under the Second Amendment. The Illinois Supreme Court has ruled companies may have to pay workers for certain pre- and post-shift activities. As reported by Capital News Illinois, the decision came in a case involving Amazon employees seeking compensation for COVID-era health screenings. I'm Ryan Gatenby with your news flash.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With a Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
As a social influencer, my days can be busy. 4 a.m., I hit the gym. 4:32, protein smoothie. 5:08, save time and money bundling my home and auto insurance with Progressive. Wait, if I bundle and save time, what would I do then? Just sit here and reflect? Like, why am I qualified to influence anyone? And how those weights are hollow? And half of my followers are bots.
You could save time and money bundling your home and auto when you switch to Progressive. It's one less thing to worry about during your already busy day. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Are you dreaming of a getaway? Want to leave the stress of daily life behind? Whether it's a relaxing cruise or an adventurous land escape, planning the perfect vacation doesn't have to be a hassle. At Cruises International, they specialize in vacation destinations, land and sea, making your dreams come true. Located at 1721 Moon Lake Boulevard in Hoffman Estates, Cruises International isn't just about booking travel. They're your personal concierge, trusted travel advisor, and advocate. Your preferences are unique, and they'll take the time to understand exactly what you're looking for. From personalized service to their global network of specialists, they ensure that your vacation is tailor-made just for you. It's time to plan the vacation of a lifetime. Call 800-255-7447. That's 800-255-7447 today and speak to a cruise and vacation expert. Cruises International. It's time to set sail to your dream destination.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 38. Saturday brings mostly sunny skies with a high near 71. Saturday night will be partly cloudy with a low around 51. Looking ahead to Sunday, there's a slight chance of rain with mostly cloudy conditions and a high near 53. Currently, it's 65 and overcast. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Jackson Hewitt handles your taxes and your stress. Inhale on no surprise price of $149 or less. Exhale, paying more for complicated taxes. You won't. Inhale, new tax law knowledge. Exhale, missing out on your biggest refund? Certainly not. Don't miss paying $149 or less. Rest easy. Jackson Hewitt's got your taxes. Guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Welcome to downtown Elgin, where businesses, community, and creativity come together. The Downtown Neighborhood Association provides valuable, complimentary services to all downtown businesses, organizations, property owners, and residents, helping you gain exposure and thrive. Whether you're already part of the district or exploring a new downtown location, DNA is here to help your vision grow. Join us in creating a vibrant, connected, and successful downtown Elgin. Call now 847-488-1456, or you can email info@downtownelgin.com. Ask for Jennifer Facala. Downtown Neighborhood Association, where the heart of business beats strong.
Ladies and gentlemen, step on inside. It's Big Top Sports, your thrilling ride. Top Sports, feel the roar. Where the Wild
And welcome back in, everybody. This edition of Big Top Sports here on WRMN AM 1410. Also on WRMN Radio on the Tube of Ube. I am your guest host on this free forum Friday, filling in for your one and truly Derek Geyer. I am Andrew Mighty Man Scheid. With me, of course, today is the one, the only Andrew Tabrooker. How we doing, Andrew?
Wonderful, wonderful. Having a great day so far. Lots of March Madness watching happening. Some more later today. I can't wait.
That's right, and we've already kind of had our March Madness segment. To end this show, though, I would like to talk about the Chicago Cubs opening day because that is coming up, and we've been teasing it a lot. I think the Chicago Cubs, can they make it a World Series run? Can they make it to the Fall Classic? I don't know, but we're going to talk about it right now. What do you think, Andrew?
I personally think they can make it. I think with what we've seen from Boyd, Boyd, Steele, Cade Horton, now you've signed Alex Bregman. Say Suzuki will eventually be back from injury. You have PCA as that shining star in center field as well. And I really think that we kind of talked about their bullpen issues maybe being shored up by the showing that we saw from Palencia in the World Baseball Classic and everything of the sort. So I really think that all of the ingredients are there for them to make that push and for them to actually be those World Series contenders that we expect from them.
Okay, and let's talk about their opening day, and I'm looking it up right now as we speak. Just give me 5 seconds.
Matthew Boyd will be their opening day
Matthew
starter.
Boyd will be their opening day starter, and they start their season off at home against the Washington Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
It's a three game series. Then they finally go to LA. So sorry, Cubs fans, you're gonna have to start in not cold weather, but not Chicago baseball weather, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's a 3-game series, and then you're going to Los Angeles, so you should be all right. But how do you see that first series against the Nationals going for the Chicago Cubs with what we've seen in spring training, and they play the Cincinnati Reds tonight at 8:05 p.m. for a spring training game?
I think that for a lot of teams, it'll be knocking the rust off, and I think it'll be no different for the Cubs. I think the Nationals aren't really anything to be too too scared of. I think C.J. Abrams is probably let me catch myself. James Wood is probably the only real thing that you need to worry about for the Washington Nationals. C.J. Abrams as well, kind of that duo of the two of them, and not having to deal with Mackenzie Gore anymore, and now having Cade Cavalli set up for that opening day start. I feel like it should be mostly Chicago Cubs in these first 3 games set. I don't really see a lot of pushback from the Nationals against a team that is the caliber of the Cubs.
Right, and we talked about it at the beginning of the today's show. Seiya Suzuki went out of the World Baseball Classic in the semifinal. No, the semifinal for Team Japan, was it not?
I believe whatever their last game was.
Yeah, whatever the last game was.
I believe it was the semifinal.
I believe it was the semifinal. I could be wrong.
Venezuela.
He actually went out with a knee problem. Has not been placed on any IL as of yet, but they're not sure if he's going to play opening day. If he does go on to at least a 30-day IL, let's just say he does, what does this mean for the Chicago Cubs if the Cubs do decide to give him some time to rest? Even if it's a short IA stint, maybe 10 days, 15 days, what would that mean for the Chicago Cubs? Because he is one of those crucial pieces, I believe, for that North Side team here in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. I think what Seiya means to the Cubs, or what a Seiya absence would mean for the Cubs, is you're going to maybe not have the same level of power. I think maybe with the addition of Bregman, that it could level out a lot more, and then when you put the two of them together, you could really start to see the sparks fly. But I think without him, you're going to need to look in other directions for that power bat. You're going to need to maybe focus in on a Alex Bregman or I mean, it's tough because there's not a whole lot of power, I would say, in Chicago. I feel like you don't have one true guy that is the power bat. I feel like they have a consistent like 6 or 7 guys that'll hit 20 homers, and that's all great. But you really, what has been missing in these past couple of years has been a true power bat, and I feel like Bregman is one of those guys that can hit 30 home runs. He can hit 35 home runs and really kind of lead the Cubs in, say, his absence.
I mean, I think you're right in that respect, in just saying that the his absence would mean something. Um, Now, getting off the injury, we talked about what Bregman could mean to this Cubs organization earlier, and you kind of touched on what Seha and Bregman could look like as a duo. But there are a lot of other players on this Cubs team that I want to talk about. Starting off with PCA, because we did get to see him in the World Baseball Classic. Was not one of the main starters, but kind of come in 5th, 6th inning. I think he got to start 2 of the games. He had a 2-homer game during the World Baseball Classic that kind of saved that game for Team USA. Where do we see PCA as he's starting to come into his own as a major league player? He's not a veteran by any stretch of the imaginations, but he's no longer a rookie. So where do we say PCA's season going? Is he going to be a driving force for the Cubs? Is he going to be used more as a running weapon or a hitting weapon? Because PCA can go yard. We've seen it. It's just not one of his biggest weapons.
Yeah. I think his biggest weapon is his speed. And I'd like for him to get less streaky and more consistent, because I feel like a lot of last season where we really saw him, kind of explode onto the scene was a very, very hot stretch. And then there were also points during the season where he would go extremely cold. But the nice part about that is being able to keep him in center field, because he is defensively that amazing out there that even when he does go cold with his bat, you don't necessarily have to worry about him. And I'm excited to see maybe on some adjustments at the plate for PCA and necessarily how aggressive he is. He's an incredibly aggressive hitter. He loves going after the first pitch. And I feel like...
Now, does that bode well for the Cubs, an aggressive hitter like that?
I think when he is right, yes. But I think the problem, not necessarily a problem, but yeah, the problem of him getting cold and then also on the opposite end having such an amazing defense, I feel like even with his bat struggling, you would still be amazed by the things that he's doing. He's still being, probably one of the leaders of that team. I mean, he is basically the face of it as of last year. And you shouldn't have to worry about whether or not his aggressiveness, positively or negatively impacts it because of the amount of value he has in the field. So it's nice that he's aggressive. You want to go first pitch swinging, that's fine. There are plenty of players out there that are absolutely amazing at it. I mean, Ronald Acuna Jr., that's basically a staple of his, is that do not throw that man a first pitch heater. That is just a mistake waiting to happen. Shohei's another one of those guys where it's like they purposely lead off the lineup in order to start the game off with a bang. Kyle Schwarber, another one. Even if you want to go back a few years, George Springer is one of the most amazing leadoff hitters, because when you can ambush a pitcher first thing, there is no better way to keep him off balance than that. He can never settle in, and he is immediately in fight mode. And I think that's what PCA brings is when he's on statistically batting, there is no better opener at the leadoff position that the Cubs could possibly have. And when he's kind of maybe in a lull, he's still just as valuable in trying to put a ball in play and getting on the base paths and using his speed to create those extra bases.
Right. And kind of the last 15 minutes of today's show, we're going to talk about if the Cubs make the postseason. Let's just put that out in the air. 'Cause I think they can. How do they get past the almighty Los Angeles Dodgers?
Pray. And then lots and lots of teamwork and hard work.
But I mean, really, what do we see out of the Dodgers this year? And I apologize, I just switched the camera.
All
over.
good. I just didn't want you to speak into the void again.
Yeah, no, speaking into the void seems to be my thing, people. And when everyone here that watches Big Top Sports on Mondays and knows me well, Andrew, knows that when I get talking about sports, it's really hard to get me to stop. But what have we seen out of the Dodgers? Because this year in spring training, because I have my MLB TV app, so I'm able to watch them in their spring training games. So I was able to watch a little of Ohtani this year in spring training, and I really think, like people said last year, it's the Dodgers series to lose at this point, and I hate saying that because we haven't had a three-peat since the Yankees back in the day. And dare I say, do I think that this Dodgers team deserves a three-peat, in my opinion? And some people might be upset with me. I don't care. It's my opinion. I don't think they deserve a three-peat. I really don't.
Can I ask what you mean by deserve?
Okay, let me put it to you this way. I believe that the Los Angeles Dodgers have gotten very in their own heads, bigger heads to a lot of these players, in my opinion. Because when you go out and you can sign Ohtani to a 10-year, $100 million whatever contract, I didn't like that. I didn't like that you took that money and spent it on one guy. That really kind of upset me because, my mom remembers the day when the first $1 million contract was voided because the MLB thought that player was getting paid too much. And now we're in a $100 million contract phase of the MLB. It just makes me astonished. And most of these guys, as kids, they start out playing for the love of the game. And I think some of these guys, when they get to the pro level, I'm not saying all of them, because I have a lot of guys I like that stay very humble to their roots and how they got here. But I think some of these guys, the money goes to their heads, and I really don't like that. And I feel like sometimes they just chase the World Series win to get more money, and not for the fact of I won a World Series. Does that make sense?
I feel it's unrealistic to view professional athletes as all of them still do it for the love of the game. And I am not going to push back on that point because there have been countless examples over the course of, NFL, Major League Baseball. You could view the Anthony Rendon situation. Anthony Rendon was great at baseball. Did he like baseball? You come to question that as the things that he was doing to purposefully stay out of baseball were becoming more and more eccentric. But there's also the level of there was a former Titans offensive lineman that was taken in the first round a few years ago, and he was like, listen, I'm large. I was told that I could play football. I've never loved football before, but like my family was struggling and we needed something. And now I'm happy and thankful that, I was taken in the first round, but also I want to be able to walk when I'm 40 and my
Right.
knees aren't going to be able to hold up. And so I'm going to take my medical retirement check and I'm going to walk. And I think that with sports being an ever-growing business, contracts are going to get larger and larger and larger and larger, especially in Major League Baseball, where you have not only billionaire owners, but you also have no cap on what you can spend in the sport of baseball.
Okay, speaking of money, because this has always been a thorn in my side, and Derek and I have talked about this on the show before. Almost every Major League Baseball team has their own streaming network. It started with the Yankees and the Yes Network.
RSNs, regional sports networks.
But here's my problem with the regional sports networks. I pay for CHSN, which is the Chicago White Sox.
God bless you.
And they aired. You have your own network, so you don't have to deal with cable networks and paying them to air your spring training game. You can pick and choose what you decide to put on your network, and you are choosing not to put the spring training games on. I pay $30 a month. Why
I pay more than Netflix to you guys for you guys not even to show me baseball. And that's the problem I have with the Major League Baseball, like the MLB TV wholesale subscription. I get that. T-Mobile has a promotion where you get it like for free as like a T-Mobile customer like every year, and I abuse that thing. But the problem with it is I can't watch Chicago games. I live 40 minutes outside of the city of Chicago, and I can't watch the Cubs. I can't watch the White Sox. So I have to follow everybody else's team but mine.
And here's the funny thing with that. You put in your, some zip codes in the Illinois area. Maybe only the White Sox will get blacked out. But if you put in some areas, they both get blacked out. And if you put in something so far out of the city, but still technically is Illinois, you can still get the games. I mean, but it's so, because where I live, my zip code's got a little screwy. So I put in my real zip code because I'm like, okay, why is the Cubs blacked out but not the White Sox, and why is the Cardinals blacked out when I live in Chicago?
Dude.
And so I put my real zip code in, and they're like, okay, no, only the Cubs and White Sox are blacked out. I'm like, okay, seems more like it, but
that's even crazier is like when, say...
But I think the MLB TV, if you do pay for that, I think more people pay for it to keep up with the entire league, and that's why I pay for it.
I agree with that, but the entire league includes my team, the Chicago White Sox. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the team that I root for.
You could always catch the radio broadcast here on WRMN AM 1410.
Yeah, and I love what Les does. The radio broadcast for the White Sox is amazing.
Oh,
but
second to none in my opinion.
Really,
and I'll get the opportunity to go over there later in the season for Affiliates Day, and have a ball here with my fun family here at WRMN. But that's going to be a fun time. But I feel like these teams worry more about bringing in the money.
But why are we limiting who can watch then? How are you supposed to market and give everybody to watch your? If you wanted to make the most amount of money, wouldn't you want the most amount of people to see your product?
This is true. I'm not disagreeing with you.
So
that's
weird.
my big problem with it. When there's 30 or so spring training games, and I only watched 6 this year. That's a problem. That's a problem when I have my own streaming network for a team. And Marquee Network, they're just as bad. They don't air every spring training game.
Yeah. Oh, the Cardinals and the Cubs are playing in the regular season, and I want to tune into the Cardinals station so that I can watch through the Cardinals broadcast. No, blacked out because you're near Chicago. Why? Because they're playing the Cubs? Like we're not even.
Now, here's the interesting part of that. Now, sometimes I've been able to get White Sox broadcast through San Diego or another team's broadcast and not be blacked out. So you get your highs and your lows, and I do love having.
Can I tell you why that is?
Why this script?
why specifically San Diego, Arizona. There's a few teams that their streaming service or streaming network is now done through Major League Baseball because Bally Sports West went bankrupt and could not make the correct contract payments to, I believe, the Diamondbacks. The Padres were a big one. So my thought process is if Major League Baseball controls the stream and they control how your thing is being put out, why would Major League Baseball as a head not want people to watch the White Sox, even if they're playing, the Padres and they're not that great?
Well, and here's the thing. I bet you they're going to feel some sort of way if the White Sox come out of this year and completely dominate, which please,
put some prayers up into the sky.
Please. That's the big thing is I just think that opportunities are being left on the table, and I hope these teams figure it out sooner rather than later. And that's all I'm saying because so many opportunities are left on the table. And, I'm excited and grateful to be able to cover the White Sox here at WRMN, being an affiliate with them and, being able to say that I'm part of a White Sox affiliate is just awesome in itself.
You got to pull rank somehow. Hey, I can't watch your games on MLB TV.
But with that, we are going to take a little 1-minute break and be back after this to end the show and give our final thoughts. But that was our MLB opening day segment for here in Chicago. I hope everyone enjoyed. I'm Andrew Scheid for WRMN, AM 1410, Big Top Sports. He is Andrew Tebrucker, and we are going to have a lot of fun at the end of this break.
At Britain's Touchless Car Wash, they know life gets busy. That's why they're here 24/7 to keep your car looking spotless, fast, and easy. Their advanced brush-free wash technology delivers a sparkling clean without a single scratch because they treat your car like it's their own. Here's the best part.